Above the Influence stories are of how they like stopped smoking or stopped drinking or became unaddicted. Well, mine is about saying no. I mean, I haven't done anything like that. So, a lot of kids say it's really hard to say no when your best friend or like one of your friends asks you instead of just like a random person. It, it's hard to say no because you're scared that they're gonna think you're a nerd or not talk to you anymore or you think they're gonna hate you or something like that. But if they're a true friend, they won't care if you don't want to do drugs or smoke or drink. I mean, I've been asked a few times by friends, a few by like random people on the street. I've said no, but the first time I was ever asked was 4 years ago when I moved here. I had made friends with a few people, and I knew they smoked and I knew they did stuff, but I really didn't care. I mean, they are good friends to me, a few of them my best friends. Well, one day I was really bored, and I walked to the baseball field down the street from my house. Um, you know, everybody hangs out there, so I was like, hey, maybe someone's gonna be there. I'll hang out with them. Or maybe there's a baseball game going on that I can watch or something like that. And a group of my friends were there, and they were all like smoking and doing weed and stuff. And there was no like adults around or anything, and they were kind of behind like it's the baseball field, and then all around it over here on three sides there are woods. Well, they're in kind of the borderline between the baseball field and the woods. And they asked me to smoke, and I didn't know what to say. I mean, I knew it would be wrong, so I was like, no, I don't want to smoke. I kind of looked at the ground and was like not paying any attention. And that's kind of one of the worst things you could do is like not pay attention or not look someone in the eye when you say no. You have to say no sternly. So they were kind of like, oh no, come on. So I looked them in the eye and I was like, no, I don't want to smoke. And I was thinking, oh my god, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna think sorry, I got hair in my eye. And they're gonna think I'm a nerd. They're never gonna talk to me again, stuff like that. And to my surprise, they were cool with it. They were like, all right, that's cool. I understand. And parents all the time are like, if your best friend smokes or something, they're not a true friend. It doesn't matter if they smoke to make that doesn't make them a bad friend or something. What would make them a bad friend is if they were forcing you to smoke or something like that, or like putting peer pressure on you, or asking you constantly over and over and over again to smoke. I remember that like when I was little and parents would be like, oh, don't ever smoke, kids will ask you and stuff like that. I think that's not cool, that's never gonna happen. Someone's never gonna ask me to smoke. But I was wrong. I mean, I was asked a lot. A lot of kids do think, like when they're little, that oh no one's gonna ask me. I don't have to worry about that. And um, sorry, ignore the background. That's my little brother. Anyways,
I'm a music guy.
Anyways, so little kids are always like, oh, that's never gonna happen. No one's gonna ask me to smoke. No one's gonna ask me to drink. I'm never gonna give in. But a lot of the time, kids do give in. I mean, just like when girls are like 13 and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna have sex until I'm 20 something, and a lot of them end up getting pregnant by 16. You have to learn how to say no strongly. I mean, if you get confused or need help, you can ask a parent or like a trusted teacher or something like that for help and support.
Hey, may look interesting.
Stop. For help or support, you're never alone. A lot of kids are like, hey, especially me. I was like, after I was like, I'm not gonna smoke. I noticed all the kids that do smoke, and I was like, oh wow, and I felt alone. But you have to think and maybe go on YouTube and watch some of the videos. You're not alone. Maybe they're not in the same state, same country, see universe. That you're never alone. There are still kids out there that don't smoke or don't do drugs. I watch my little brothers every day get picked on by kids that smoke and kids that do drugs, and I kind of find it funny how they'll get chased, and I'll watch the kid chasing down the street, and then halfway down the street, the kid stops and goes, "I can't breathe." I mean, that's one of the bad things about doing drugs. And yes, weed doesn't harm you, but it's still not a cool thing to do. Um, it's not cool. Like, you may think it is, but it really isn't. And just because you're in, like, maybe a lower grade or something doesn't mean you might not be asked or something. Yeah, but that's my story. That's my conversation. That's my Above the Influence. I'm gonna get stay above the influence, alright? Alright.